Buongiorno Mondo, and welcome back to 15 with Fosca, the podcast. So I am sitting here today with my friend Sandrine Kom. Buongiorno, Sandrine. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy to see your smile again.
Oh, and I'm so happy to have you back on the podcast because as I was just telling you literally 2 minutes ago, you're actually the first guest that I'm inviting back for the second time. So for those who might not know, I'm just going to give like a very quick history of our friendship, our relationship. And then you're going to be asking me the questions today. So it's going to be sort of a different experience. But you and I, actually just about a year ago, we met. Because we did a reality TV show together called Best Weekend, which you can still see on Canale Nove. And I encourage you all to do so because Sandrine and I had a really good time doing it. It was a great experience. We loved it. We just loved everything about it. And it's actually the way we really got to know each other. And so I'm grateful for that. And over the past year, we've become really close. We've become collaborators. We're organizing all sorts of fun stuff. And what we're talking about today is my recent life-changing experience going on this digital detox retreat for stressed super women, the goal of which was to transform us into Zen Super Women. So Sandrine and I are going to be talking about that today, how it went. She's going to be asking questions, which I have no idea what they are, by the way. So this is all spontaneous. This is all unscripted. So I'm going to pass it over to Sandrine to just ask me whatever she wants. I hope I can answer.
May I say, Fosca, that first of all, I'm very proud of you. Because when we start to talk about it, about this digital detox experience, because I was talking about my ritual since July 2023, that every Saturday evening I switch off my phone and then I switch it on Monday, also all the devices. I remember that you told me, I would like to do that, but this is impossible. And can you please remind us why, for you in that time, you thought that it was impossible?
I think there were a few reasons. And if I recall our conversation correctly, I mean, the first is just that I'm a workaholic. I mean, let's just get it out there. I talk about it all the time. It's not a secret. I'm getting better. But if I have my devices, I'm going to work. And so I said to you, like, I can't really conceive of not working on, if I need to work. I need to work. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend, a Sunday, a holiday, And also for me, it was like not being able to be contacted by my family. That really irked me. But then I ended up making peace with it. And it actually turned out to be super easy. It was just, I think, more of a psychological thing for me. How can I be that disconnected in today's world? Things are happening so quickly. Oh my gosh. Like if I sign off for 48 hours, and I felt that, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but like when I sort of came back to earth, I was like, okay, what's happened? Like who's gone, who's still here? What is going on in the world? And I guess for someone like me, who is so like, who is quick and wants to follow things and always be like on top of things, that was sort of more than a challenge to me. It was really a mindset thing and the idea of not being contactable. Oh no. Is the world going to fall apart if, whoever can't get in touch with me? No, not at all. I'm not that important, actually. And that's a huge realization for me.
So you needed really a mental preparation. And how many months did you need to really imagine that you could make this kind of experience?
When did we start talking about it? I want to say early in the new year, but maybe sooner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think once I signed up for it, that began my sort of mental preparation because up until then, I was like, I can always tell Sandrine that I can't do it. And then when I signed up, I did make peace with it in a preliminary way. I was like, okay, this is happening, but it's far away. Like, as we always say these days, oh my God, April is like years away. And then it was just upon me and I had no other choice, to just accept it. I had made a promise and that was that. So it took a few months.
And then can you remember the sensation that you had when you told me, okay, I'm ready. During the Zen Super Women retreat, I will enjoy a digital detox weekend. Can you remember How was the sensation? Were you proud? Were you a little bit afraid? How can you describe that?
I'm very competitive with myself. I think I probably wrote about this in the blog as well. So I looked at it as a challenge and I was like, I like that. And because you called me a masochist the whole weekend. I don't know if we want to talk about that now. But I have the kind of personality where like you give me something, you're like, this is impossible to do, or this is going to be hard. I'm like, bring it on. And then I was like, I want to go totally digital, free, device free. And then it became this thing that I was dreaming about. And I was like, wait, 2 days of not being, findable. Oh my gosh, And so then it became this thing that I was looking forward to, the way you look forward to a vacation. This was like, for me, I think the weekend I don't think I've had a vacation that's that relaxing in a long time. And so I think even just that 2 days of being so disconnected, I think that's why the experience feels like it was so profound for me, because it might seem like nothing, but and it is nothing. I want to get that out there too, by the way. Like it seems huge. It's not. It seems so hard to do. Not at all. And it seems like, oh my God, you're going to miss so much. You miss nothing. If anything, you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much time. This is so wonderful. Anyway, so that's sort of my preliminary, very long response to that. Yeah.
And that was also very interesting because during this Slow Life retreat, it was an invitation for the participants. If you wish, you can enjoy also a digital detox experience. And you were the only one, because I don't want to push nobody, because it's so true, you need a mental preparation. You cannot say from one morning to the evening, I want to do that, because it's very powerful. And can you tell me, because we made a very funny video during the retreat when you gave me your phone and you wanted almost, please take it away from me. I don't want to keep it anymore. And can you describe us the sensations that you had when finally you switched off your phone and you didn't know at all how to switch off your phone because you never, that was crazy.
I'm such a boomer. I never turn off my phone.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know how to turn it off. It's very embarrassing. Now it's on the video, whatever. Well, as I say in the video, I have a hate relationship with my phone. But I thought, and I haven't written about it that much, but I have notes on it, because one of the things I was thinking about in that period of mental preparation was, what am I going to miss? Like, what am I really going to miss? Let's break this down. And so I don't like the phone. We talked about this. Like, I was not going to miss the phone. I knew that I wasn't going to miss the 4-minute voice messages that people leave for me, or the incessant, notifications from all different apps, which for me is very hard to keep track of sometimes, But I was worried about little things, not little things, but I don't sleep that much. And so, I start working very early in the morning, and I was afraid, oh my God, I use my phone as a crutch, if I have an idea, I do voice memos, or I write down notes. I was afraid that I would lose some of my creativity or something ridiculous like that, or slow down in my work somehow. And so, but I was also afraid of not afraid. There were certain things I was a little worried about, like not talking to Jada. I like to hear her voice. I like to get messages from her. I like to send her stupid reels on Instagram, things like that. Or just worried that if my family needed me, they wouldn't find me. But when I gave you the phone, at a certain point, I made peace with it, because I was like, hold on. We managed to communicate if there was an emergency 1 million years ago. We're not going to have a problem today. And so once I'd given the number of where we were staying to her, to Luca, people knew that I was off the grid. I was like, honestly, I have nothing to worry about. So that was nice. That made me be able to give things up feeling lighter, because I knew that, God forbid, if somebody needed me, they wouldn't have any problems getting in touch with me. But I may as well just enjoy myself, because, I'm here. And I was worried about silly things oh, but I don't have my Kindle and my New York Times, word crossword puzzle, and, all those things that sort of, I realized, fill my time, but they also are anti-stress things, and how will I do with it? I didn't miss anything. This is the bottom line. Well, there's one thing I missed. which is the flashlight on my phone. And so because I'm old and we were outside, I was outside in the dark and I banged my leg because I didn't see the wooden table. And I said to Sandrine, okay, this is an easy fix. Next time I just need to bring a flashlight, But so I am proud to say that after my digital detox weekend, the only thing that I realized that I needed was a flashlight. So that's your takeaway, at least for me.
This is an amazing discovery, and this is what I will suggest to the participants for the next retreat. Absolutely. Take away. Because I say always, if you want to enjoy the digital detox, take with you, please, an alarm clock.
Right.
But then also the flashlight. You're right. This is an important...
Except for the older participants.
Exactly. But can you describe us the physical sensations that you had when you gave me your phone? Because that was powerful. First of all, to give to someone your phone, because your phone is something there is an intimate relationship. And so, do you remember?
I felt free. I felt great. I felt ready. I think that's the most important thing. The moment that I just passed it off to you and I realized that it wasn't that big a deal at that point. It felt like, okay, I made a promise. And then we go back to my original point. I made a promise to myself. I'm one of those people. I'm terrible in that way. Like if I say I'm not going to eat whatever for 2 weeks, I won't do it. I'm very stubborn and I'm very hard on myself. So I knew that if I had betrayed, somebody was like, you can just keep it in your room turned off. I'm like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to, I probably couldn't figure out how to turn it on. But if I have my phone shut off in my room, I'm going to turn it on eventually, right? I mean, what is this? Some kind of, it makes no sense. So I really loved the feeling of that liberation. Okay, I'm not bound to this. I don't need this. I lived for most of my life without this. And so I think if we rationalize that way, even those of us who are young, I mean, we did have lives without our devices. And for me, it was like, okay, let's go back to that. And that felt freeing because we've been talking a lot about this, and how we grew up and our childhood and things like that. And for me, that sensation of okay, that's it. And nobody can find me. I could, I'm not going to disappear or anything. Don't worry. Not this time. But, it felt very free.
So that was in April, a retreat dedicated to the stressed superwoman who would like to become Zen Super Women. We were 6 superwomen, and some of us, we arrived with very heavy luggages. For instance, I had 3 luggages, but you had also 3 luggages, Fosca. And
I didn't realize this was going to be one of the questions. You really emphasized the fact that the weather would be variable. No, every time I talk to you, you're like, "Do you have warm socks?" And then the next day you'd be like, "It might be April, and we're going to the beach, but you need a jacket, you need a windbreaker, and you need." So I just was like, okay. So I didn't bring any of my devices, but I brought 10 books.
Exactly.
At least. I brought a journal. I brought a pen. I brought a lot of toiletries. I travel with a pharmacy. Everyone who travels with me knows because I'm like the mom. And what happened? I'm giving everyone sunscreen, Band-Aids. It's my job. It's my lot in life. But yes, I had a lot of luggage and...
Yes. No, that was interesting. First of all, I realized something interesting what said Donna, one of the participants. She said, it was so nice, the fact to know that we were traveling with the car, that we could put so many things in the car. We don't have to control the weight of the luggages. So it's true, that was the reason. But I was so surprised when you told me I took 10 books.
Yeah.
Because you were afraid about this digital detox experience. What will I do? And can you tell us...
How much I read?
Yes, please.
50 pages of a not great book, admittedly. Perhaps if I had read a different book, I would have gone further. But it was that first morning, probably, that I wake up early, everybody. I have a problem. I'm trying to solve it. It's getting better. But that first morning, I believe I woke up at my usual time, which is 4. And normally what I would do is, start working immediately. However you want to define work. The first thing I usually do is check my email. That's really bad. And then I check the newspaper. So then I'm feeling really depressed. And then maybe I'll go on social media and I'll get caught up and whatever. And then I'll start, whatever the work of the day is. And at this point, it's 5 in the morning. So there I am lying in bed listening to like the owls and the rooster and nature. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to fall back asleep. I'll try to read. And that, I do that at home too, without my devices. But I was worried. I was worried that I would have all this dead time and I wouldn't know how to fill it. And that was not an issue because we were super busy. You kept us pretty busy. Saturday was like super active, but I was also like very relaxed and we were working, we were engaging. I think the thing is, I didn't realize how powerful and all encompassing it would be as an experience. I really did think it would be more like chill. Like you made us work, which I appreciate. I love the physical exertion, which is why you said that I'm a masochist, because I'm like, at a certain point, I was like, oh, I love that yoga that we just did, because like my abdominal muscles hurt. And you were like, good, I'm going to give you more. And everyone was like, like, who invited this masochist to our relaxing weekend? But the thing is, like, I was so relaxed the whole time. That's the thing. Like, I didn't feel the same. And this is, I guess, obvious, but even though I hadn't slept, I felt so much more relaxed than I would normally feel. And I don't know if that's because I was in this beautiful place, if we were at the beach, I was doing things differently, we were eating beautiful food, we were having incredibly powerful conversations. So I can't tell you if it's like one thing, all of the above, like a combination of them. But I was really calm the whole time, just like very relaxed. Even though I hadn't slept, I didn't feel tired. I felt tired, but in a good way, like relaxed, the way you feel when you've, taken a bike ride or done an intense session of yoga or talked about important things that affect your personal life and your professional life. And that's something, as I was saying, like, for as much as I prepared myself psychologically, I didn't realize how much it would touch so many aspects of my life, and that's tiring. I don't know if this is a spoiler or anything, but when I came home on Sunday, that first, Sunday afternoon, I was like in some very strange, almost liminal state. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I was so relaxed. I hadn't even driven. So I had like it was like I was in this really nice place, had no desire to look at social media, to look at my emails, to talk to anybody really on the phone. Talking in person, different. I turned on my phone for the return trip, notified people that I was on my way, but it wasn't like I turned on my phone and I was like, oh my God, what's going on in the world? Or, what's happening on social media? That came probably a day after, even just like, okay, let's look and see what's going on. But I had kind of like a resistance to it. I can't explain it.
And can you tell us what was the sensation when sometimes you had a reflex, you wanted to show us something, you wanted to... Yes, to take your phone.
That was annoying.
Yes, that was
annoying. I couldn't
take
pictures.
So you couldn't take pictures? Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like that because I didn't want to influence other people's experiences. But obviously, I am documenting this. And I'm like, can you take a picture, please? And then there were a couple of times, I think, when we wanted to look up something or I was talking about something. I'm like, look it up. But it was fine. It was bearable. I think I actually would have liked it if none of us had the phones. I'd like to see how that might play out. Because I think that if you have your phone with you, you're still not. You've got one foot in one world and one foot in the other. And I wonder if my experience, I really believe that it would have been less impactful if I had my phone on, because it would have kept me always in this world. And I didn't want to be in this world. For that weekend, I really, really wanted to feel what it was like to also to kind of see, to relive what we used to live not that long ago. The iPhone came about in 2007 when my daughter was born. She's turning 18 this year, right? We've not been, it seems like a long time. It's not. You and I certainly spent the majority of our lives without. And so why is it so difficult for us to do this when it's something that's so good for us? And that, I think, is where, and that's why I think that my experience was so powerful, because I think about this stuff all the time now. And I have a different relationship with my phone. I already had, that I'm like, I can do without the phone, but I can't because I'm a solo entrepreneur. My phone is my most important work tool. Along with my laptop and my mic, my podcast, my voice, my writing, whatever. It's a tool, but I need to look at it that way. It's a tool. So in the old days when I used to go to the office, right, and I used to work at my desk, at my computer, and then at the end of the day I would leave. That's it. I mean, not always, but it's hard for us to do that when we are solo entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
It is very hard to shut off because the phone is not just, something you use to communicate. The phone is how you show yourself to the world. And I do a lot of stuff on the phone. Yeah. So I feel that from like my particular experience, there is not one day that's gone by since the retreat. Now we're almost at the 2-week mark. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. Every day, something new comes to me. I don't think I've even told you this. Even this morning, I was tired because somebody made me stay out late last night, Sandrine. I wonder who. And I was so tired because, of course, I got up at the crack of dawn and it was raining and I couldn't sleep and blah, blah, blah. And I did like a 10-minute power nap meditation thing. And I was so relaxed. I woke up and I was just better. And that's all stuff that I am taking away from our retreat. I've been working on meditation for a long time, but this particular thing that I did this morning is very much a consequence of our retreat.
Oh, I'm very happy about that. Also, I was so happy when you told me a few days ago, you know what, Sandrine? I woke up this morning at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And you also told me at the retreat that you slept a little bit longer.
I did. Things are changing. I've always had not always, but in my adult life, most recently, I've had a difficult relationship with insomnia and with just early rising. But I told you that I'm seeing, so while for me, sleep is always like this, I don't know, it's like a challenge, another challenge in my life. I've noticed changes. So I think I mentioned to you, well, that first day I got back, I was just exhausted. I was like, I need to nap and then I need to sleep late and whatever. But I noticed that maybe in a normal week where I would have always gotten up before 5 or something, there have been at least 3 or 4 times this week only where I've gotten up at, for example, 7:30. That was a shock. I was like, oh, that hasn't happened in like, I don't know, 15 years. And then also, yeah, just this a different feeling of, I just don't know how to explain it. I'm feeling different about my sleep. I'm feeling, for example, when I wake up, I can get myself back to sleep. It's a process, but something did change. I can't say what it is yet. It's too early. But if I have even just 2 or 3 of those a week where I can sleep past like 5:30, that's huge for me. So I don't know though where that's coming from yet, but it's there. But it's happened. So we'll see.
Okay, and I have also another question. Do you have the sensation since this experience that you touch now a little bit less your phone?
Oh, for sure. No, for sure. For example, I don't know if we mentioned it. I don't think so, but I've changed my morning routine a little. No, I've changed my morning routine a lot. And so, as I mentioned, what I used to do is like, okay, it's 4, wide awake. I go have my, coffee and I start working and blah, blah, blah. Now I try to breathe when I wake up. If I wake up too early, I try to breathe myself back to sleep. I try to meditate. If it doesn't work, I might try to read, but I'm trying not to reach for my phone for the, first thing, just like, okay, what's happening? Sometimes, obviously, it happens. Let's not pretend that, that's not easy to break, but I think about it much more. I find myself spending time on it, and I think I'm spending too much time on it. So it's just an increased awareness that it's not something I necessarily need all the time. It's not doing me any good first thing in the morning. And I'm just kind of like more aware of its presence. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just there, but I can leave it, but I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it all the time.
That's good. That was interesting what you said, that it was annoying that you couldn't, for instance, make some pictures. And it reminds me the beautiful experience I had a few years ago. I went with my husband and some friends in Turkey for a trip on the boat. And I said to my husband, you know what? I will enjoy a 1-week digital detox. And I asked him for help. Please just check my emails. If there is something important, you let me know if I need to reply. And that's it. And the landscapes around me were so beautiful. And you know what? I made all the photography with my eyes. And all these landscapes, I can keep it in my heart forever. I know this is inside. So it's really more powerful than, the pictures here, a reel here, a video.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that to me because it was the day that we were at the beach, because it was gorgeous. I mean, it was the day that you want to have your camera. I mean, it was spectacular. And you said to me, no, just take the pictures with your memory, with your eyes, you'll remember them. And, that kind of thing also, we haven't talked about this as much, but there is an intellectual component that I would like to underscore. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm a victim of it. We all are. They make us lazy. Our devices make us lazy. And so even just the simple act of my being able to sit here with you and I immediately have a visual of what it was that I wanted to take a picture of, that's good. I think we are getting lazy. And so for me, using my brain again, in that way. I don't want to rely on Google all the time. I don't want to rely on my iPhone to tell me, okay, this is where you were and I'll remember that day and I'll remember what I wanted to take a picture of. And so that's a good mental exercise as well. I think we have gotten to, it's too easy. You hear a song, you're like, oh my God, what's it called? Shazam. You can't remember the name of something. You Google it or you use ChatGPT and in 30 seconds you have the answer. That's not good for us. I mean, it's good for us when we need to get out our work and we're doing research and we have deadlines and things like that. But in our daily lives, I think we can step away a little, and it's a good intellectual activity as well. Let's use our brains a little more. Let's commit those things to memory like we used to, And so, yeah, that was pretty powerful for me as well. Just being like, okay, why don't you did that. You did that your whole life. Or, we used to take pictures. You'd have to wait a long time to see them. You'd already probably forgotten about your vacation and then you got all the pictures back and they were probably terrible, So we've gotten spoiled by that. Which is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love technology, and I say this all the time. I'm such a huge fan of technology. But I also feel that right now it's too much. And so that's why I'm such a big fan of the digital detox, because even if it is just me stepping away for a morning, because now I've gotten to that. So I'm like, okay, I want to not be on social media on Sundays. I still like to do my word puzzles. So I'm keeping that still because it relaxes me. And I don't have much in my life that relaxes me. And so I keep that. But I could live without it. You know what I mean? And I think we all can. So I think it's healthy to just step away. I keep saying it, but a morning, one day a week, like what you do, it's not that big a deal. And I think it makes us more present, and I don't want to go back to this. I think we were all present at the retreat, but I really feel like I was just like, okay, I can absorb things better. I don't have interference. It really felt like a spiritual retreat, and that I was doing myself this incredible gift, giving myself this incredible gift, doing myself this incredible service by saying, hold on, you've existed for this long without this. This is not something you need to survive or to breathe. You actually need everything else that you're doing right now to survive and to breathe. You don't need your phone. You need a community. You need to be breathing. You need to be eating beautiful food, seeing beautiful things, spending time with people of value, talking about important things, how we want to change things. And that weekend was very powerful. There's a lot of brainstorming. We have ideas. And I think sometimes we're a little too dumbed down, Think about our childhoods. Think about the kind of stuff that we didn't, like computers, like they were like huge and these weird things. And, we really had to rely on our imagination and I think, and our creativity. And so for me, that's what was the most, I think, poignant thing is that, okay, you need to like get back to that because that is something that will make you ultimately more productive. And this is the point, I think the biggest of the many takeaways is that the thing I say to myself always, I'm like, I have time. And I say it out loud. I say it to other people. I say it when I'm getting stressed out. I feel myself. I'm like, I have so much work. I have to get my newsletter out and I have to get my blog out and I need to reply to this email and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I have time. Mm-hmm. So something, there's something about your method that's very effective for me because it has changed my relationship with time. And that's just a fact. And that doesn't mean, I want to say this again because I think it's important. I'm a stressed out I'm a stressed out superwoman still, but I have a higher consciousness and an awareness. And I'm not just saying this because I'm surprised when it happens, because it happens several times a day. I can actually make myself feel calmer and more in control of the situation just by recognizing the fact that I've always gotten shit done. Why is now any different? And that's your weekend. It seems so obvious, but it just, it helped reveal the obvious. Listen, I always get stuff done. I'm going to get it done. I have the time to get it done. I have the skills to get it done. And you know what? If for some reason I don't have time, like I run out of time or I'm a little late or whatever, it's okay. Like it'll be in 99% of in cases, it'll be okay. And that for me was another very liberating thing, giving myself permission, to say like, wait, you're like, okay, you can take a minute. Because I think this is the other thing. It's like, can we be gentler to ourselves? And this was the other thing. I think that, I don't know if I've talked about this with you. I've talked about it with other people. We have to be on social media because of our jobs. I don't like it very much. I'm on it. I do what I have to do. But fundamentally, I have a difficult relationship with social media. I had to step away from it, I think, at a time in my life where I was not doing very well, because I felt that being on it was just making me feel even worse about my life. And so it's not hard for me to move away from social media. That's not an issue for me. I think it was harder for me to move away from feeling like I was somehow less of a perfect professional if I stepped away. So that feeling of guilt, if I don't get out, and then, nothing helps you because you're getting messages all the time from Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Oh, if you posted, 3 more times this week, you could actually increase your followers by whatever percent. It's like constant, And I think that one of the main beautiful things of the retreat was like, wait, we need to live our professional lives with a little less guilt and recognize our accomplishments, but also say like, all right, you know what? Like, you need to relax. You need to have a weekend away. You need to indulge in this. You need to cultivate your soul, your body, your mind, be in nature, all that good stuff, but guilt-free. That's why I turned off the phone, because the phone would have made me feel guilty. I would have been posting on social media, which would have been really interfering with my experience. And then I would have been waiting to see what people's reactions were, and are people reacting? And is this like, no. God, when you take all that away, you really do have time. But more than that, you have like a mental clarity. And I think not just social media. I don't want to demonize anything or anybody, but I think just the way our world moves so quickly, going back to like notifications, sometimes I don't know where I've seen messages. Like I don't know if this happens to you. I go back, I'm like, did I see it on Instagram, WhatsApp? Where is this message,
Oh my
right? And so anyway, I think, so for me, that was just this very powerful moment of, okay, we have this world that we live in. It's gotten out of control. And we need to do something to protect ourselves. Do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like to me. It not really even protect ourselves, but I did something so kind, I did something so generous, just for myself. But the beauty of it is that how I feel now is just, it's benefiting the people around me. And I think it's benefiting my work because I have this sort of like, I'm feeling very zen. I am, like I get stuff done. It's okay. If I take a 15-minute break, what's going to happen? So I'm trying to get into that space. But it's not easy for people like us who've always been, perfectionists and, overachievers and things like that. And I think we have a lot of pressure as women to be perfect in every sphere. And so also I think just like, I'm going to be straight up, but like a weekend where I didn't have to worry about cooking or, tidying up the house or, doing the grocery shopping or whatever, like that's huge. That's a huge gift you can give to yourself. So I recommend it to everybody. Also for just somebody who wants a weekend away, just with a little less noise, more beauty, and really attention to one's needs. I mean, we'll talk. I'm sure you want to ask me about my inner child. Little Fosca.
Yes, let's talk about the little Fosca. What are the needs of the little Fosca?
Well, I love, I'm high energy. And so I love physical activity. And so for me, I usually play tennis and I walk a ton, but I don't bike very much. I love biking, but I don't do it because I don't feel safe in the city in Florence. Thank you. And I don't do yoga that much. I've done it a few times. I've never really gotten too into it, but I like it. And so for me, that was like a huge component. I need that. Because that calms me down. I need yoga. I need physical exertion, as I already mentioned, but I loved the biking through the pine forest and spending that glorious afternoon on the beach. That is a dream for me. That's my inner child. My inner child will tell you that her favorite things were, biking, swimming, running around nature, being free, that feeling of freedom. And then, of course, the beach for me is always just like, okay, we can't get much better than this. So I think that weekend it had everything. There was nothing missing. My inner child was nourished in every way. I think something else that we talked about a little was the privilege of being in that space for an extended amount of time with such an interesting group of women. The community, the conversations. I think we are so hard on ourselves. And it is so easy when we hear other women's or other people's struggles or whatever, we can empathize and we can say, I hear you. But we're never like that I'm not. I mean, and I think a lot of people are harder on themselves than they are on others. That was also really revelatory for me. I hadn't been in a space like that with other women probably since college, really just living and talking and having these incredible exchanges that I think we all left with this incredible sense of, wow, we've gotten a lot of good work done, and we've taken care of ourselves.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate what you said. You said two keywords. The first is that the phone relationship, a relationship with the phone makes us feeling guilty. And this is so true because during the retreat, we could enjoy really not to feel guilty anymore. Exactly. And yes, and also what you said, the other word was generosity. I was generous with myself. And this is what really, sometimes we are very stingy with ourselves regarding the generosity.
Terrible.
So that was really this retreat with these another solopreneurs was not only very inspiring because we had a lot of fun
we
also.
Laughed our asses
My
off.
gosh. I'm still laughing alone.
Sometimes
still today.
I think some of the things I think about and I literally I can't stop laughing. We had a good time. And I think though that we had a good time because obviously we were relaxed. You don't have to think about anything. All we had to think about was, okay, what am I going to am I going to have more of this delicious food? What am I going to eat at breakfast tomorrow morning? Should I go for a swim or should I just stay here tanning? It's like, God, it felt so good to give oneself this gift. I'm never that generous with myself. This was probably, I would say, the most generous thing I've ever done to myself. And I didn't look at it that way. Isn't that funny? I was only concentrating on the social experiment. That's how I am. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this social experiment. I'm doing a digital detox. I'm going to look at it, from this. No, it became just like a weekend of total indulgence, total luxury. I'm dreaming about it and I'm going to do it. I've promised myself I want to do it once a year. I think it's really an important reset. I think that we're spending way too much time running nonstop. And it's really not good for us. It's not good for us on a whole lot of different levels. And so I really want to find a way to make sure that I can do this for one weekend a year and maybe have it mark, okay, for me, the timing was perfect because it was okay, we've gotten the first, we've gotten into spring. You've been in the dark and the cold and whatever. Now you're ready to, go out and get through these next busy months, but feeling really like you've got, I feel more balanced. I feel better.
Oh, I'm so happy. And you know what, Fosca, this is only the beginning.
Oh, you think? Because it's
Yes, I
awesome.
know that because every day you will notice, you will observe some little changes, better and better, because that was very transformative. And I would like to share with you my impression about my digital detox ritual.
Okay.
Because for me, this digital detox experience, this is like taking a very deep shower every week to clean myself of everything. As we know, as solopreneurs, we work a lot. We have a lot of things in our mind, and we are very creative. We are always thinking of a to-do list. And the fact that I give myself the permission on Sunday not to watch TV, not to listen to radio, Spotify, YouTube, Netflix, no phone call because I have time. That would be the perfect moment to call my sister, for instance. No SMS, no WhatsApp, nothing. And just to enjoy the time with my friends, with my husband, with my dog. My dog is very happy about that. It has completely changed my relationship also with time. I love the slowness, but on Sunday, I'm become very clear about what is not negotiable. I come back to my values. I come back to my deepest needs. And of course, the first time when you have this experience, it's not easy. And in the book that will be published soon, first now there is the French version, but the English version will come soon about this incredible journey. This is very interesting to see that we can make it. We don't need to be afraid. And what we get, this is such an incredible gift. I think this is in this society, this is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give to yourself, to switch off your phone without feeling guilty. And the probability that something bad can happen because you are not reachable is so small.
It's tiny. And I mean, it's ridiculous because it's something that I don't know why I carry that. So I don't know if you do as well, but it's something that I think that was the thing that bothered me the most. But it's kind of a non-issue because, we already talked about it. But talk more about your book just for a sec.
Oh, yes. The title. I just changed the title because, when you work on a book, you have always some little adjustment. And yes, I don't want to reveal what is the title now.
That's fine. I hear you.
But I'm very happy to talk about this experience because I think that it will help other people. It will motivate and inspire other people to do that. And we will talk also about your experience and the experience on other people in this book who had the courage, because this is really a question of courage. This is the reason why I said I'm proud of you that you made it, It was funny when the first time I decided to make this digital detox experience, I heard incredible excuses around me from my friends or from my family why they cannot do this experience. Yeah. But really, and one of the most funny answers that I got, now I cannot switch off my phone because I need to check the weather forecast. So
I love that.
The weather forecast, and I don't want to say the name, but I really looked at the person and I was so speechless because you are so afraid, to lose the contact with your phone, to lose the control of the situation. And sometimes we really need to learn just to trust the process. Mm-hmm. So this is what it's about in this book.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, a lot of people are curious about it because I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but when I did my oh no, she's taking away my phone post. My last post before I left, civilization for 48 hours, I got so many private messages about it. I got DMs, I got WhatsApps, people like, oh my God, tell me all about it. People need this, Sandrine. And that's why we're talking about it. That's why I'm writing about it. And honestly, I do think it is enough to do, for example, what you do that one day. I'm getting there. I'm trying to get there as well. And I think I will, because as I mentioned, it's already changed. And I think it's really a gift that you give to yourself. I keep going back to this, but it's fundamental. The world is moving too fast, and the phone and technology it makes it feel, at least for me. And so can we take away, that one thing and maybe, feel a little more settled, grounded? That's how I felt after the weekend. I felt grounded. I felt more connected to myself. it felt more quiet. Everything just felt quieter. I didn't have so much of that stuff in my head. I had a lot of stuff in my head because of the experiences. There was this incredible lightness that I felt, right? The whole weekend, and that really stayed with me. It stayed with me. I'm very calm. I had trouble working the first couple of days because I was so damn relaxed. And I was like, damn, I got too relaxed, but there's something to be said for that. I'm not the kind of person who feels that relaxed that often. So obviously this is something I needed. So I feel like there's a great interest in this. I think your work is fundamental because it's not getting better. It's not going away. So we need to find ways to really find a healthy relationship with, how much we work, how much we play, give ourselves though that permission. I keep going back to it because I think that's what is so crucial in your message to the world. You're losing yourself. You're losing yourself in your telephone, and it's affecting your work. It's reflecting your relationships with other people. It's probably reflecting, how you feel, how you are in the world. So why not? Why not just take a little break and see what happens? The world is not going to fall apart. You'll be fine. And you can find out the weather other ways. There are other ways. We looked up the weather in the newspaper in the old days. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, this is true. Nothing happened. We can give ourselves the permission.
Right.
For instance, I observe that every time when I have to switch off, and I'm sorry to use the word, I have to switch on my phone on Monday, because if I could, I would really leave it.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you be able? How long have you gone?
1 week.
1 week, the Turkey trip?
Yes. And if I could, yes.
Would you try longer? Would you want to try longer?
I could
2
do
weeks?
that with pleasure.
A challenge? Do we want to come up with a challenge, Sandrine?
Yes.
Try it 2 weeks.
2 weeks, but I need an assistant.
On vacation.
I need
but that doesn't count.
Yes. I need assistant. That's my husband. Of course, I will inform everyone, but
right.
I'm not reachable.
Right.
But you never know,
But you'd have to be maybe on vacation.
You have to really
be on vacation.
Absolutely.
And that way people accept it more, which is an interesting point. Something to think about too, right?
Yes.
Like if we say to ourselves, okay, we're on vacation.
Yes.
I don't know if you don't watch The White Lotus. We talked about this, but I told you it's important this season because the digital detox is real. They asked for a family asked for their phones to be taken away from them at this hotel in Thailand. I can't go into all the details, but in other words, it's a very hot topic. And I would like to see more people saying, okay, I don't need to go on vacation for 2 weeks to justify the fact that I'm going to be off the grid. I'm going to do this now because I think it's going to make my work and my output and whatever better. I feel more creative.
Absolutely.
I feel more connected to other people. I feel more connected to myself. It might seem, I know, I keep saying it wasn't that long a time, but that should be proof that it doesn't take that much.
It's incredible. But Fosca, when I switch on my phone on Monday, I don't have the reflex anymore to touch
look at it. Well, that's what I wanted to say. That's what happened to me, like on the Monday and Tuesday. But even now, I get more, I don't know, it feels heavier in my hand. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It feels heavier in my hand. I don't know. I just think about it more. I'm more aware of it. I'm just more aware of it, time, how I'm spending my time. Things like that. Yeah.
Yes.
And the nature thing.
Absolutely.
That's huge too. That like when I first got back, it was like a physical need. I need nature always, but it was different. When I came back, I was like, I needed to look out in the garden, And now when I'm starting to get stressed, the same way I say I have time, I look at something green, I stop. Okay. And I think that's the key. You taught me just how to stop. That's huge. A lot of us don't know that. We aren't really taught that, or especially, depending on how you grew up and where you grew up. But I grew up sort of like you go, 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 go. You just go. You just go. You go. And you do what you got to do. And so it was, for me, it was just a life-changing experience. Knowing that I can do this for myself, allowing myself to take. It was really indulgent, Sandrine. I want to thank you for that. Like, it was so indulgent. I think we should all do this more often. I don't know why we're so cruel to ourselves, why we deprive ourselves of, for example, something blissful like this weekend was for me. I don't know. I really recommend it to everyone. I'm not just saying that. And I can't wait to do it again. And I know you have retreats coming up.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about them a little?
Yes. So the next Slow Life Retreat, I love this word, Slow Life Retreat.
Yes.
It's in June, so it will be very dolce vita. We will have less workshops than we had during the Zen Super Women Retreat, because the Zen Super Women Retreat, we enjoy life. We have a lot of fun. This is Disneyland, but
we worked hard.
We worked very hard because there were 3 surprise workshops in which we had really to think about very important things regarding our deepest needs, where we want to go and how we can make it possible. So that was really very interesting. June, the weekend of 6-8 June is very nice because this is mixed men, women. What I noticed in this retreat, the people have an incredible sense of humor. We have a lot of fun. Maybe because I love laughing and we all laugh, but we don't take ourselves seriously, and we will really want to enjoy the dolce vita in Tuscany, take our time. So, and we focus on how can we make peace with time. So, because this is a very important topic, because sometimes we see time as an enemy, and this is really possible to find a way to make peace. Because during the Zen Super Women Retreat, we had a very busy agenda. We could really respect the time, but at the same time, we were not stressed.
No, we had a lot of downtime.
Yes.
We relaxed. We had time on that afternoon on the beach. That was all frolicking and leisure.
And how is it possible? I mean, to have such a busy schedule and to have time at the same time. This is incredible.
You have time.
Yes, this dream, you can make it true. So this is you can really create this harmony. And this is what we will do in June. But we will also explore that during a workshop that we will have together.
Woo-hoo.
I have time at the end of May in Florence.
That's right.
And yes, we were thinking to dedicate this workshop to everyone, but also to parents who are pretty busy.
Yeah, and we're getting to the end of the school year. So Sandrine and I really wanted to put something together for people who couldn't necessarily get away right now for an extended period of time. So do like a mini slow life session. So we'll be holding it at the Conventino here in Florence, so any local folks can sign up for it. It's on May 21st. It's going to be a morning. And we thought that also, we're coming to the end of the school year. Parents, I know you hear me. It's a lot, especially new parents. I think finding, a couple of hours to really reframe that notion of time, because I think a lot of us feel that we don't have enough time. And Sandrine, you really help us make peace with that and see how we actually do have time. So I hope that anyone who's in Florence will come and join us for that, because I think that even just a couple of hours can really change your perspective and also give you a taste of how wonderful this approach to your life is, and how it can change, how it does change, your relationship with your work, with yourself, with your time. I mean, it's an incredible discovery. So I'm so looking forward to this.
Me too, because it will be such a dynamic workshop in which we put our strengths together, our experiences. And I have also good news. In autumn, we will have a 1-day retreat, digital detox. Yes, here in the Florence area. So I will let you know soon.
Okay.
Yes, just, because this is nice to start slowly from the morning to the evening. We will just switch off our phone. So This is not violent. This is very gentle, very soft. And we will explore a lot of things regarding our connections and not connections.
I love that. Well, I can't wait. And thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for your work, which has been, for me, really just taught me a lot about myself. And I'm grateful that you are hosting these retreats, that you're helping people live their lives better. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You're dedicating this is your life's work, to get people into that beautiful lens of slow living. Oh, grazie mille. I'm really grateful to you. I'm so glad we met.
Oh, me too. Thank you, Warner Bros. Discovery Channel, for this beautiful opportunity that we had to share
meet
this
each
moment.
other.
Yes.
It's kind of incredible if you think about it, because we just met a year ago and it was just like,
Yes.
it was like instant. It was like the two of us were just like off the hook chemistry. Well, who knows what we'll do? Who knows a year from now? Who knows what we'll be talking about?
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see everyone in May at the mini workshop that we're doing, and follow Sandrine to find out about her retreats and what's coming up and when her book is going to be published. And
yes, and I forgot to say, okay, in June is the next weekend retreat in Tuscany. But at the end of September, there will be a retreat dedicated to managers, solopreneurs, caregivers, so people who have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, for men and women, and we will work on the burnout prevention, because this is important in our tune before start the Christmas, the madness of the Christmas things that we have to do with work and everything.
Yeah, people get very stressed that time of year.
Yes.
This is a great idea. So follow Sandrine. We'll put all the information in the show notes. You'll be able to reach out to her, find information about everything she's doing, and then we'll have her come back to talk about the next big thing she's going to be doing. Who knows what it'll be.
Merci beaucoup.
Grazie.